Hello! Welcome to Talk Together for A Divergent Dream. Here are the cast. Look at them, aren't they spectacular? Yes. Now, I have questions. And I'm sure you, audience, also have questions. Many questions. And we'll get to them over the next hour as we try and piece together what the fuck just happened. But we'll get there. First of all, I have to tell you that we're talking about D&D. I'm Chris. I'm your host. So, and I'll roll a dice to find a jumping off point question if we need it. But I think we've got plenty of questions already, haven't we, friends? Haven't we? Yeah. You can pop questions in the chat. We're pre-recording this, so they will be just for you and the mod to go. I don't know if they answer that or not. So take it as you want. But anyway, that's where we're at. Before we kick off, the stream will run for an hour or so, and we're delighted to be sponsored by Hero Forge, Ultra Pro, Phoenix Dice, and Alchemy RPG, and supported by Idle Champions, D&D Beyond, Neverwinter, and Elderwood Academy. Heard it here first. You can put exclamation mark name, and there's stuff about them, or there's things that pop up. Isn't the internet wonderful? Anyway, we're All Together RPG. We're on all the socials. Exclamation mark socials in the thing. In the Twitch chat, and then you'll get links to all the socials, including a TikTok. There's a TikTok now. What the fudger? I don't know what TikTok is. I assume it's
because you want it. So go and subscribe, like, and share.
Yes. Is that a thing? Cool. Sorry, I don't know anything about TikTok. I'm old. I have children. It's not a thing. I'll wait till they're old enough to tell me about it. That's what's going to be. Yeah. We all good with that? Good. Right. Anyway, join us. Join the D20 Club. They are our Patreons. They are on Patreon. They're our patrons on Patreon. There it is. They're great. They're awesome. And you get access to a bunch of stuff that we put on the Patreon, which no one else can see. We're not big on the whole, like, hidden behind paywall stuff. So it's like a pound, dollar, whatever, to just jump in and be involved and meet people and chat. That is all grand. Join us. Join us. Join the collective. Anyway, this is Talk Together. We are talking together. Ali, I'm going to start with a question for you, but please, cast, feel free to, I was going to say jump in and answer, but I don't think you're going to be able to answer. Add your own voices of dissent. I think is the best way to put it. Yeah?
Yes.
Ali, this story isn't over.
It pretty much is not.
Yeah. Did you have more you wanted to do, or did you have like an end point here that you were like, this is a good place to do like a campaign 2? What was the plan? What was the idea?
I think it was trying to make a setting to create this sort of domino effect for further games, but sort of having a closure to the characters. And hopefully we'll see what's going on. Otherwise, we know that there is some threats out there. If any other DM wants to pick up, or if I'm lucky to be again in the table with these lovely people.
Because you added whole new elements to the cosmology, which is really cool. A lot of far realm nonsense. Far realm nonsense. I particularly like the Corpse Star edition. That's some age-old lore for those who like the Forgotten Realm thing.
That's great, yes.
So yeah, I'm very excited.
Well,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, with the whole Elder Evils and the Infested start, so it's just...
Oh, okay. This is a massively nerdy question, and it's probably a bit too soon for this level of nerdery, but Ali, you started me off. Are you combining, what's the Corpse Star's real name? Xianryu and Ragnara? Are you mixing all those bits together?
Who knows?
Oh.
Spoilers.
Those
Ragnara's awful. I love it.
I think it's quite high level conversation in terms of character level, and I think if develops, I want just sort of go level. We were level 5, level 6, maybe 6, 7, 7, 8. So sort of long term, but just to know that those creatures are there and they are coming.
Yeah, that's cool. Very, very cool. I mean, there were a lot of horror elements in this one. Like, last episode in particular, a mask that grows a tentacle, and it's just a lot. It was a lot. I like my horror, as we all know, but there were moments in this where it was proper, like the description of Mr. Cassell's dream version with the... we might use that picture that you shared pop up on screen, because that's awful.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
If you do share it, I want you to know that when Ali showed us the picture, he was like, I think it's cute.
So did
He
Fee.
hard sold it.
Yes, I did too. I think it's just because, my background in horror games, I felt right at home in this campaign. I was like, yeah, this is my bread and butter and my jam. Like, let's go.
Make a sandwich.
Yeah,
Lovely
exactly. It's
I will
wonderful.
maybe add the link on the wiki and then share the link
Amazing.
on this chat.
Let's do that. That's a nice way of doing it. Cool. How did everyone else feel about the horror elements? Was it good? Too much? Not enough?
No, it was terrible. I really hated it. I did not want any horror elements to happen to my little tiny autonome sorcerer with tentacles in her face.
That GIF you put on the Discord, Nat, I don't know where you found it, but it's a fucking nightmare. Sorry. We'll share that. That will appear on screen now. Otherwise, no one knows what we're talking about. But yeah, that's a whole nightmare of its own. That is. Where did Sarah come from? That's a cool character.
Thank you. I don't know. Just my brain. Was not created for this.
Bummer.
Was a character I thought of.
Should get that checked out.
I probably should. No, I think it's one of the times when I was just like reading through different character subclasses, and I just had this image of like when I was reading through the Aberrant Mind stuff, I was like, but what if very cute gothic Lolita and her face came off and there were tentacles? But this was like way before this campaign. And when Ali was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do some stuff with dreams, I was like, this could fit. Little knowing how much he would like be like, great, okay, so it's connected. It's an elder evil.
Now, come on now. You can't tell me that you made a little robot girl whose face comes off and you're surprised the DM went, thank you for this gift. This, I will treasure this, thank you. God, the face coming off. It's a tiny thing. You're just going, and she takes her face off. Me going, I want to make all the face off jokes, but it's just too horrifying. I can't. Off it goes. I mean, it was a cast of characters, this one and all, wasn't there? Like, I want to have a special moment, special little shout out for Roger the Rat. I think that is, and
MVP for sure.
MVP.
Yeah.
We don't need to roll that question. MVP.
Yeah, it's fair, totally fair. And Josh, the chest plate of Bag of Holding, where did that come from? Because it was so surreal on one hand, and on the other, so charming that it never felt like a sort of it felt like a cartoon moment almost, but one that you could all sort of go, oh, that's fine. Part of the world. Cool. Take it in stride.
It literally came from the moment where we were describing our entourage coming in, and I was like, well, I'm going to be the one that's going to be carrying the stuff. I was too big. At that moment is when it came.
You did it live?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, his arm is too big. There's a rat in there.
And it was so convincing that I genuinely thought you had a bag of holding that you had styled as an armor of holding.
That's what I thought. This is genuinely thought this was a cool design idea. Yeah.
I might have to do that. It might have to be a thing.
And all the little moments, because Roger kept sort of popping out and doing little bits or being involved in tiny little ways in the narrative. Were those sort of specific choices of I want to, like, because they often seem to come at moments where things were a bit much, as a chance of like using a bit of humor to draw things back a bit. Like it felt like a chance for everyone to just breathe in those moments.
Yeah, sort of like a bit of a relief moment to sort of bring people back into it, back into sort of like the game and things, and like a little bit of the serious element out of it as well. And also when I couldn't think of something funny to do as Garnot, always if you have a rat that does it, it's so much better.
Yeah. And straight into the audience and the other players' hearts, so you could always find a place to just fit it in.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do each of you individually, and you don't know who's coming next. Evie.
Oh, hello.
You are not a power player. You and I have played together more than enough to know that you don't give a shit about that sort of thing, and yet that is the most power play monk I have ever seen in my entire life.
Right. I don't know what happened.
It's the fucking tattoo.
Yeah, the fucking tattoo.
I was literally just scrolling through items. I was like, oh, hello.
And then it became a plot point. Again, as well, it became a plot point. Ali just went, yoink, thank you, and built that into narrative as well. Yeah, all very nice. In the first episode, you were adding on an extra 18 damage. So you were doing like 60 to 70. But you're still doing like 50 to 60 total.
Yeah.
Most hits. It's just...
Like, I did some wrong calculations at first, but it was still massive amounts, especially for a level 5 character.
Yeah.
Like, don't expect me to do this many more times. I didn't like not being able to do things outside of combat.
No, you're playing this character again, and now we're adding layers where you're nasty at combat, but also here's all the other layers on top, which there were plenty. Like, we now had backstory. We didn't get to the whole change thing bit, did we? It didn't come up in Stream.
No, it tends to be a bit tricky when you've discussed things out of game and you can't remember what you've said on stream and what you haven't. So I was just sat here like, have I said that I've killed my entire party? I don't remember.
Okay. I got that they were all dead, and I got that you felt responsible. I didn't get that you killed them.
Oh, well.
I don't think it was said.
Yeah. Damn it. Well, here's
there's some good backstory reveals. This is why people watch this show, to get all of the behind-the-scenes goss. So Winnow's a serious wrong'un.
Yeah, so it was the rest of previous party went unconscious after being, jumped by some mercenaries, or I think it was some orcs or something. And while they were unconscious, Winnow just thought, oh, they're as good as gone. Time for mercy. And just kind of...
Jesus Christ.
Made the wrong call.
The wrong hand.
And thus got cursed to not be able to change anymore because one of them was a warlock to an eldritch being.
That is so much worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
That is awful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of why I went into the first session like, shell shock,
Because you were a mercy monk, so you could heal people with punches. Did you try and heal them and then just, like, kill them instead? Was it an accident, or was it like, this is mercy?
I think that I might have tried to do the healing on the first one and just kind of got it wrong.
You've got to get it wrong on one, and then there's another one.
It's okay, I got it this time. No, wrong place. Okay, that was the throat. Oh, no, it's gone now. And it just kept snowballing. Mistakes were made. It was a panic decision.
Okay, I know it didn't happen on stream, but can we headcanon that you murdered the first by mistake, went shit, and we were careful with the second one, healed the second one, and then killed the other three, how Dominic parties members were, and then the other one was starting to wake up and you went, he must never know, and killed him as well.
No witnesses.
No witnesses.
No one can know that I chose. I hit the wrong switch on my character sheet on D&D Beyond.
I did feel the brunt of Winnow's mercy healing punch, and it left Garnot with a nice, lovely bruise and a dead arm for a little bit. But he felt better. He healed.
I mean, this is classic D&D, isn't it? Like, you heal. You can do healing as well as punching. No, I punched them with love, and now they feel better. Okay.
I do this because I love you.
Wake up! Yeah. More fun to be had with Winnow later, I'm sure. Anyway,
Yes?
Navri's an awful person.
I know.
Oh, let's... Okay, hold
the
on.
legitimate worst.
That's a little revisionist.
Lazar would not
post-game
appreciate.
I don't want Lazar's fucking opinion.
Too bad, because you will get it regardless.
Yeah,
I'm aware of that. We'll get to you.
No, Navri is wonderful because she's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's. I wanted to play somebody who was very full of herself. Just these. I called them delusions of grandeur at the very beginning, and Nathan was just like, "No, not delusions. Obviously, like factual. Like this is
Okay.
This is accurate."
Because you had hype people, therefore it was very hard to get factual accuracy. How famous is Navri? Because I got a certain vibe of like, Navri's done a couple of gigs. I also got a certain vibe of like, Navri's like Cher famous, just no one talks about it that much. So originally, when I brought Navri to the table, Josh and I had worked out this backstory that Navri had hired Garnot to be her bodyguard because she believed that she was going to be so famous that she needed to like pre-hire her bodyguard.
because, you know, she was going to have these rabid fans. And then Nathan was like, oh my God, Lazar, I'm going to be your spiritual guru. And I was like, this is amazing. I love everything about this. And then I think, yeah, she just kind of was like a little more famous than I think I intended, which was funny for me, because I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it is accurate. And it just kind of like added to the divitude, because she's definitely like toured around. She is known. She's known enough to get free carts in exchange for signing giant parsnips with charcoal, which was still, I believe, a very strange choice to have me sign, but whatever.
I mean, sign whatever you can get your hands onto. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Had headshots.
Yes.
It was in the armor.
Yes.
Canonically. We have several sizes of headshots.
Yeah, but they wanted me to sign the parsnip, and then they made soup with it, and it's fine.
I was always imagining, because it was always like little girls that were really excited to see you. So I was imagining you as the D&D equivalent of Jojo Siwa. Like adults had no idea who you were, but little girls all over it.
You know what?
I know who Jojo Siwa is then.
Sorry?
I know who that is. How do I know who that is when I'm definitely an adult?
You have a child.
Well, you have a child, though.
My child is 8. He doesn't give a shit about Jojo Siwa.
Oh, well.
He really likes like old-fashioned rock music. He's very cool.
Oh, that is very cool.
Taste.
Yeah.
It's from his mum. His mum's very cool. Anyway, so yeah, I think Navri's awful, but also
I think she's terrible.
Oh, it's great. It's love to hate. You know, it is a love to hate, and I do like a love to hate. And we're going to see more. Please tell me we're seeing more of the gruesome twosome, because Lazar's got to come back as well. That's also a character I fucking love to hate. That's just nightmare.
I honestly, I love the trio so much, because like Garnot is so like wholesome and genuine with Roger. And then you've got the two worst people on the planet who are just like so into everything about themselves. And I mean, I would love to bring the gang back together. To
be fair, the people I know with that level of like small fame in like acting, movie stuff tend to have spiritual assholes and really nice genuine bodyguards. That makes sense. Like I saw that and went relatable, so that's a good sign.
Great.
Accurate.
Job done.
Tick. All right, Nathan, I have to ask, because Lazar clearly does have, like, it's not just spiritual guru nonsense. There is some genuine belief stuff in there.
Yeah, I think that especially came originally when Ollie and I were talking about who the character was going to be. I wanted to do a cleric. I thought that was fun, and was just kind of kicking around a couple ideas. And I don't remember at what point I decided on like the subclass and blah, blah, blah. But I was originally kind of my pitch was that he was going to be kind of an inquisitor. Like he was going to be very serious, like a very serious character. Very like detective-y, a little noir-y, a little like hyper intense. And then we sat down for the session 0 and it's like, I don't know if that really fits, you know, like, it's going to be serious enough as it is. We have this whole spectrum of character going on. And I was having a hard time figuring out why this character would be motivated to work with these people, all that kind of stuff. And then as soon as V and Josh kind of rolled out their posse, was like, you know what, maybe actually I should do instead is this thing.
Okay. I'm going to be sad that we missed out on Lazar Lachance, investigator for hire.
Exactly. It was there. You can squint a little bit and you can still kind of see it. But
it's in the stars, baby. It's in the stars.
Yeah. And so I started going down that route, obviously, right? And it was very funny. But then I also was, as I was kind of finalizing Lucky and the character, and this is hooray, you know, auto-generated table character things. One of the personality, you know, kind of like little things for backgrounds and stuff and D&D Beyond, said that, you know, it was a suggestion of like, you saw something and it changed you forever, basically. And immediately is like, that's it. That's the thing, is that he's walking this line between, he knows, you know, kind of that eldritch truth. You know, he's seen some glimpse behind the veil and knows a little bit of it just kind of from his like spirituality, but also is this goober and is both, you know, kind of like being very free flowy, but also probably trying to just like live this life of excess to push away the thing that he saw. But as soon as like it is clear to him that like, oh, I'm getting sucked into this again, he cannot both out of duty and like education and beliefs and this curiosity in his mind cannot let that stand and like let that simmer, which is just I like playing that kind of character.
Go ahead, Alan.
However, I had the impression, I mean, maybe I'm just giving you ideas, but I had the impression that you actually consider the what these other eldritch being told you, because at the beginning, so the first conversation was like, so your deity was like, keep an eye on Syrah, but then you were like, maybe not. So I was like, so maybe Lazar, so Ali asking to himself, is Lazar falling for the eldritch temptations?
Yeah, like I had a lot of fun working out Lazar's kind of like belief and cosmology in the way that he kind of lives, other than just stupidly, which is I think a pretty complete answer in a lot of ways. But he had a very specific worldview of like not a lot of this matters because they're all these like eldritchy things, and it's about, you know, enjoying the moment and also like prophecy and stuff is imprecise, right? And visions are imprecise, and they're and reading stars and all of that is very like there's too many variables in the world, in life, in minute twinkles of stars above you, like could mean anything. And so I had a lot of fun kind of being like, okay, cool. So that might mean that there is no set belief system, and it is just he's been trained to interpret, to read situations, read people, read signs, and then just act accordingly, in a kind of chaotic way, but also kind of a like specific way.
I tell you, the moment where you went, my beliefs are more important than touring with this musician, I'm going to go and do it at the very end. That was me going, there's the backbone. There's the meat. There's what we've been waiting for this whole way through. So he's not just an asshole. And then Navri goes, no.
Be an asshole with
Come
me.
be me. And
well,
yeah, fine, fuck it.
I do though. I do like being an asshole with Navri. That is very good is the problem.
It's so good. We're so bad for each other.
It said
really
so much about the characters, and I mean the second half of the fourth episode is just all like delightful roleplay choices that tweak all of what came before into this. It's just lovely. There's so many great moments. That whole thing that like Sarah's choices, Winno's choices, Garnot taking that into his own hands and going, I'm going to make a choice now. Like it just changed the timbre very quickly, which is a very cool thing. That's what I love. One of the things I love about D&D is suddenly the timbre just shifts and everyone gets involved. Right. Well, that's a little breakdown of all your characters. Thank you all very much. I'm going to roll a dice. Roll a dice?
Roll that dice.
Nice.
These two have done this before. Okay, that's three. Okay, but just for the three who didn't say roll that dice, you're contractually obliged to. I'm sorry.
Roll
That's
the
just
dice.
I said it with my
dice.
body. Does that count?
on three. You will all, apart from me, because I'm rolling it,
was
roll that
expressive.
dice. So 1, 2, 3.
Roll
the
dice.
Okay, I will.
You're welcome for the tag phrase.
Thank
All
you,
Evie's fault.
internet.
Damn it, Evie.
All right, question for everybody. Which player character is most likely to get the Edgelord Award?
Winnow?
Winnow.
Why is there a question
100%.
mark?
Is that a, yeah.
I'd
She
say it's
murdered
almost
her
a
whole
tie
party.
between
It
Winnow
was
and
awesome.
Sarah.
It's edgy and fucking cool.
I think we know, but especially when the interactions with Navri.
Yeah.
So the most edgy comments came when they were interacting.
Navri was the whetstone that sharpened the edge
Yeah.
of Winnow, and it was
100%.
perfect.
Going
All right.
into the campaign, it was very much like, oh yeah, we're going to be best friends by the end of this. It's all going to happen. And Navri was just the worst.
I
And
thought we've
Willow
all just
tried
agreed with
so
that now.
hard.
That is just a fact now. Navri is the genuine worst. Okay.
She is though. I mean, I said that episode 1. Like I was, like I mean,
What is that
Yeah.
meme of the two people sat in the car and one is just all goth emo and one is all
and the other
bright
one's
and
rainbows.
colourful? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's the two houses, and that I'm sure we said that like at the end of the first episode in our like post-show chat. We were like, "It's the two houses meme."
Yeah.
I actually
That's
think
not-
that was shared in our chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm pretty
literally I
sure.
think that is true.
I mean, it makes sense. It is. I mean, okay, so Evie, I will give you a chance to defend yourself from this Edgelord award if you wish to, although I will remind you that Winnow had My Chemical Romance playing in the background the whole way through. No defense?
I wear this badge with pride, thank you very much.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, you should. Good.
Winnow watched Umbrella Academy and took notes. Like, that's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What's your character motivation? I have knives. Okay, good. Let's roll the dice again. No one said roll that dice. And I have to do it all over again. Guys, it's
Oh,
really not
Well, you
hard.
said it, you didn't commit to it.
Dice.
It was like you just said, oh, okay, just roll that dice.
I'm going to roll
The
the
dice?
dice now.
Roll
that
that dice.
dice.
Those who not understand
Enthusiasm,
countdowns, it's
yay.
just unbelievable.
I blame leadership, you know, the managerial style, not conducive to us all screaming. All
I'm
at the same
not in
time.
charge. I don't know why everyone thinks that I am. Okay, cool. Are there any choices you would change in retrospect? This goes to Ali as well. I'm disappointed that didn't get the Edgelord Award, by the way.
Were you disappointed that Ali didn't get the Edgelord Award?
Minister Cassell is an Edgelord bar none.
I miss it myself.
Yeah, but like, do they beat out Winnow?
Not in my estimation.
Winnow had a mask with goth makeup on it, basically.
It was a crying visage, and you know it.
Yeah, that's not goth
Goth
at all. Look at these bloody tears. It's a lyric.
Probably. So
It's an Evanescence song.
the creature. So the last two creatures. So Mystical Cell's dream version. They didn't have any sort of legendary action. Probably I would have add 1 or 2 legendary action just to make it a little bit more fun.
Legendary actions at 5th level is cruel.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. Yes.
Nah,
We
screw it.
nearly died as it was.
I was gonna say, I don't think you needed to make anything a little more cruel. You ran us through like a gauntlet.
3
Like-
combats and a trap room in a row with no rest. That's what happened.
I think that's fair. We got that. Okay, look, we will have this debate if we want to, but you know that you're supposed to get 3 encounters and 2 short rests in a day. No, 5 encounters.
Well,
and 2
all
short
right.
rests
Are
in
we
a day.
getting into the XP counters of these encounters?
No,
And
not at all.
what's the CR for a whole room that
No,
just
no.
gets
No.
starts with water and
I'm
then
not talking
maybe
about
gets
any
lit
of
on
that
fire
bullshit
by
that no DM
a
pays
member of
attention
the
to
party
anyway,
on
Nathan.
accident.
Come
Huh?
on now.
What's the CR for that encounter, Chris? Can you tell me that? Because then that throws off the map.
That's
Sounds
all
like a
meaningless.
pretty high level challenge to me.
That's all pretty meaningless. My point is that short rest encounters, you're expected to have them for nearly every encounter, but long rest abilities you're expected to have once per day. So the Eldritch Claw suddenly becomes I can do this once. Like, that's the vibe of how the balance tends to go with it, although D&D is absolutely fucked when it comes to balance. We all know that. Nathan made the point himself, but yes. Legendary actions at 5th level, though, because that changes the economy setting. That just ruins the economy setting. That's awful.
Yeah.
That is
But I think-
mean, Ali. I'm
so
putting my foot down. That's mean-spirited.
And no, that's it. So the reason behind it was because as a player, I acknowledge that we are obsessed with long rest. And we sometimes forget the urgency of stuff. So it's just like, we are in an emergency, guys. So you can, of course, if you want to take a short rest or a long rest, the DM is no one to stop you. But then it's like, it's up to you. But also, you cannot take a long rest if you are in a room full of traps.
Okay, here's my thinking. Give it 1 legendary resistance. Because then you use it and the players will go, fuck, it's a legendary creature. It's got legendary actions, fuck, and get really antsy and worried. But it's just 1 legendary resistance. Just
A fun system that I've seen, not to digress for too much, is a version where instead of just having one monster, you just essentially stack 2 monsters on top of each other with 2 different initiatives. It gets a little wonky in terms of action economy. You have to explain away a few things, but that's a way where it acts twice. It shares a pool of hit points. You can kind of fiddle with, like, if it gets stunned, it's like, well, it's more slowed and only gets to act once or something, something kind of along those lines.
Sure.
But like, that's a fun way to still keep it balanced and not just like tack on stuff.
Yeah.
And with that particular situation, you could have it as the Parasite's turn and then Mr. Castell's turn.
But Mr. Cassell was on your side. Tricky. Very tricky.
Kind of, yeah.
But that's DM nonsense. Go on. What choices would you change in retrospect? I will pick one of you at random. You know I will.
I think I would have liked to have made Lazar a little more assertive in the back half. And not even assertive, more outspoken, I guess. And I, hear me out. I know I said the word Lazar being more outspoken, and I'm sure everyone got a shiver up their spine. But in terms of interacting with some of these, kind of like cool lore and set pieces and stuff, I think I took too much of a passive consumptive approach, especially as everyone else's stories and stuff was getting all weaved in. And I should have tried to have a little bit more kind of like flip that switch earlier, I think, but happens.
Can I stand up for being passive sometimes? You all right with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy being passive a lot. And again, just like one more little thing, of just like a line being like, oh, we do need to take this seriously, or this or that, something to kind of show, to have me as a player, Nathan, be more engaged, but also show that Lazar is like, no, this is a different Lazar. He's like, he's pulling on these threads a little bit more.
Hindsight is 20/20, as they say.
Not having strength as my dump stat.
I mean, it was incredibly amusing. Who was the strongest in the party? Because that was a weak-ass party. That's ridiculous. That is
these two.
What did you have?
10.
Tens. We both.
I also had 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is
Sarah, Winner, and Lazar all had 10, and that was it.
No, I remember spending some amount of one episode screaming that you all had collectively fucked up by letting the warlock and the monk and the druid have the highest strength.
Sorcerer, not warlock. Everything screamed warlock, but no.
Yeah.
What was Navri's strength fee?
8.
8, same. Okay.
Yeah.
So the 2 stabs actually got a -1 to the damage, right?
Josh, did you have really high con? Like, where was the big stat bump?
Dexterity and con were both the 2 highest stats that I had for Garnot.
Con makes sense. Big beefy stuff that way. Yeah.
Dex was more on the idea for Dex was more that he had smaller weapons, so instead of having a long sword, had a short sword, and using. He was more dexterous in the way that he was. When I designed him, he was originally designed to be more of a he was originally going to be a bard, and he was going to be a knowledge of swords bard, and was going to dance with the blades. But I decided to change it to a fighter and do the similar sort of try and do that in my descriptions. So that's where the dex.
Can you use dex for attacking if you're a fighter?
With the finesse weapon.
Oh, of course, finesse weapon.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I had a short sword.
Yes, it's all coming together in my head now. Also, strength, let's face it, is a very easy dump stat for D&D.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw it out there. We used to lift things. This campaign, apparently.
we did, actually, quite a lot, it turns out.
We did.
Yeah.
Thank God for that levitating spell.
Is he drowning?
You used the clutch point.
Is he drowning? Oh, he's fine.
That would have been great if Navri had actually used it at any point that it could have saved someone from death.
Navri remembered after the fact and then did it anyway, which speaks to an utter misunderstanding of what happened.
As far as I can tell, I did everything right.
I could have
Also-
helped at the time, so now I will be ineffective.
How long did we spend calculating the telekinetic shove push
very long
and
time.
receive
An
up the
extremely long
stairs?
time.
It was so
It's a
long.
long time.
And then for me to I felt so bad because I genuinely forgot that it was a thing that my loot could do.
Yeah.
And then I was
Spells
just
out of magic weapons always screws me up.
yeah.
You
And then
forget what's on your sheet. You forget what's on your sheet. You're playing a character who's also got a bit of paper that says all the things you can do. Especially with digital character sheets. I don't mean this negatively. I love digital character sheets. My God, the complexity it takes out of the game and makes it more free flow. But it does mean you're scrolling and going, have I done that? Have I done that? Do I know what that is? Do I know what that is? And you suddenly realize there's things on there that you never used because they're way down the list and you don't think of them.
And
Yep.
building upon the levitate spell, I also love that Winnow was so eager to use deflect missiles.
Ah!
And it
That was
finally
so
worked.
good, though.
Is this a missile? No,
was
sorry.
so
Is this a missile?
God,
No,
when
sorry.
you asked, does Mr. Cassell
Count as a missile.
as an object or whatever
As a
it was? I was like,
projectile.
projectile. That's what it was. So I was like, this is D&D is good actually. D&D is a good game actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Our
you know
faith
what?
in D&D was restored.
It is my favorite thing about monks, and I would
Yeah.
be damned if I'd play a monk and not use it.
I'll roll that dice again, shall I?
Roll
that
dice.
Thank you so much. Your feigned interest.
God, I could feel the stakes emanating from you, Chris, from across the Atlantic.
What can I say? I'm a very good vampire hunter. All right. Question for everybody. What was the most surprising moment of the entire campaign? Now, in this campaign in particular, a lot of choice.
For me, I know my answer immediately.
Mhm.
It was the trippy dream sequences.
That's
Where-
personal.
We knew going in it was going to be Eldritchy, right? We knew some of the little bit of the stuff, but when that hyper detailed, super thematic, super symbolic, super colorful description came out, not just once, but for every one of us, that was like, immediately turned things up to 11 for me. That was really cool and surprising. It still fit the tone, but expanded the tone a lot for me, where it's like, this isn't necessarily, I wouldn't actually even call this too much of a horror game for me. There was lots of gross stuff and tentacles and all
Lots of
that kind of
gross
stuff. But for me, I thought it was way more like horror psychedelic, where there's a lot of dreams, a lot of visions, a lot of talking to God, like eldritch gods, as if they are normal people. And for me, it was a lot trippier. And it shifted from it's this weird, creepy carnival circus thing. And there's going to be tentacles later, watch out, to tripping, which was awesome.
Cosmic horror. I believe that's the genre.
Yeah.
Well, I see. I don't think it was even. I don't think it was even that it was a little more we didn't even touch. I felt on the kind of cosmic horror of we are tiny, insignificant
It's true.
specks. It is just surreal. We are seeing glimpses of strange things outside our comprehension, but we can kind of get it, and we're rolling with it, and we are something cool is being unveiled to us, even as it is dangerous. And it's a notch different than what I was expecting in a very cool, different way.
I am a sucker for thinking about these shows as TV shows, and in the writing as well. Obviously, it's pre-written. Everyone is scripted, obviously. The fact that the end of the first episode, if you will, is these 5 complex, detailed dream sequences that all have reference and meaning later is just the perfect hook tease to go, what the heck? And then that's it, you're done. So it was
And then
very
us all
clever. I like that.
standing on the lakeside afterwards was really cool.
With the whole
Alone,
circus
the circus had gone. That was again immediately super flavorful writing choices by you, Ali, and just again immediately told me what kind of story that we're actually doing here, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Different opinions? Ooh.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, for me, the most surprising moment was Sarah being picked up and used like a projector. It was a little surprising. I don't know if anybody saw overhead projector Sarah coming. I was not on my bingo card for this game at all. But that was, I mean, it was super, super cool to have the Lonely One like projected down beneath her in this cavern and like talking to us through her. Like that was just, that was such a cool thing. Yeah. It was rad. It was super, super rad.
I will say that everyone on the internet knows that as this like wholesome tanks, but no, there's some dark shit in there. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Don't spoil my secrets, Chris.
when that goes, I'm playing a little horror child. I went, yeah, it's about time. Like that was genuinely my feeling.
A little bit of building upon what B said. So my biggest surprise was Syrah putting on the mask. So I think that was edited off. But so when that was about to happen, we sort of paused the game and I was like, guys, this was not supposed to happen like now. Like, what the hell I'm gonna do? So give me a breath here. And I was like, okay, we have this and this option. And then we want both. And I was like, fine. And then it was like, here you go. But I honestly, I mean, because probably it was a little bit of my, not mistake, but I missed, how to say, Syrah, when everybody wants into the cave, and it's Syrah the one that says like, oh, we're looking for Mr. Cassels, and Syrah triggers the encounter.
Oops.
I think I forgot that in the sense of, if you give this mask to Syrah, of course she's going to put it on. But
well, I mean actually, it was V's idea.
Was it V's idea or was it Navri's idea? Who wants to watch the whole world burn? You know.
Okay, Navri is a cinnamon roll. She is just a sweet summer child
who wants to watch the world burn.
No, but here's the real truth though. V wanted to know what happened if you put the mask on. So Navri definitely channeled a little bit of V's fuck around and find outness.
We didn't see it, but definitely Navri in the corner was saying to some of the random monsters, you want to know how I got these scars? Like it was happening. We were there.
Well, you know.
Yeah, secret darkness. It's in all of us.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that whole sequence was amazing. And yeah, like you said, Ali, we had a couple of moments off screen where we were both like, how's this working? I don't know either. Let's see what happens.
It's almost a shame to cut them out. Yeah, it's almost a shame to cut them out. But there is a point with all of that where you go, it's so normal in home games to go, guys, I didn't plan for this. Like that happens all the time and it's fine and it's totally a part of D&D. But from an editorial perspective, it kind of ruins the narrative.
Yeah.
And it takes away that feeling of like the DM knows all, which is kind of important, I think, in a televisual medium. Anyway, blah, blah, blah.
That's what these episodes are for, right? Like, you believe the DM knows all, and then we peel back the layers, and you're like, aha, this is not planned. And then you get to take double credit for people thinking, oh, Ali had this great plan all along. And then afterwards, you're like, wow, Ali improv that? That's amazing. So, like, double kudos to Ali. But yeah, and again, trying to figure out, like, I've not played Warforged, which is what Sarah was originally, and then I read the Spelljammer classes, and I was like, oh, Autonome fits so much better. And then, so I've not played mechanical. I was like, figuring out that, can I take my face off? I don't know how that works. Sure, why not? The bit that actually, I would say, surprised me slightly more, because again, we didn't have an off-stage conversation about it, was Sarah jumping into the lake and then the tentacle picking it back up and going, no, thank you.
The most, like, there was a certain amount there of going, the DM just going, nah.
No.
Nah.
Not tonight, Satan. Not tonight.
But it's set up as well, the fact that the other aberrations were in the water, but we didn't really dig deeper or pick up on it that
those
much.
Were just fish.
So those are with the other two masks. So the mask that you didn't find were those creatures, and of course, when the mask or the creatures touched you, that was what triggered this sort of tentacle. In the same way as the mask that you put on your face sort of triggered the Lonely One.
I just thought it was big fish.
No, it was
Same.
it was the other two.
Oh,
Because I think so. It was Garnot who saw them, and I sort of mentioned that they look a little bit human, but those are shadow. But then I think that was. I mean, that was the
like the
intention.
idea of Lake Esmel being full of big fish. I don't know why. It's just like there's lots of fish down there. You're among the fish now. That's where you live. You're with the fish now.
I was really busy holding my parasol, so I couldn't really like investigate the water at all.
Look,
I like that they just ignored Winnow just making lengths.
Yeah, why did they just ignore Winnow?
because big fish don't like changelings, guys.
Is that
They looked at Winnow and they're like, that is a person who's already got too much going on. We'll just.
And they
Leave
looked
them
at the
be.
tiny gnome child made of metal and went, now that looks like someone with no complex backstory at all.
They saw the arms like twice as long as they should be. It was like, well, no, I'm not. I'm going to keep my arm envy over here.
Why is Gerard Way swimming across this? It doesn't matter. I was going to roll the dice again,
Because
but
that's
first,
how good music is made.
yes, Gerard Way swimming across the lakes.
Yes.
Yes. Ali, I'm going to throw out a surprising moment.
I just did Josh said
He did not.
Mine was literally what Nat said. The whole tentacles pulling that was a cool moment, but for me, it was the realization in the last episode that those two masks were in the water and using that tunnel network to get to the capital. It was like, oh yeah, what? Huh?
Oh, this goes bigger.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this has been set up.
like a monkey-
Okay.
It's like a Monkey Island thing, isn't it? Where you see something in the distance happen, and you're like, oh, that's the thing. And you go later, that was the most important thing. And it's just quietly.
actually.
That
So
was the moment where we were all like, oh, with a prologue. Okay.
the lore of that lake is said that it's unusually deep, and probably people think that a dragon lives underneath, but
Just big
Who
fish.
knows? Big fish.
and weirdos in masks?
No, the weirdos with masks were all a facade. It was just big fish. I didn't DM this campaign, but I'm putting
Put it in the wiki.
put it on the wiki. I think, okay, I'm going to throw in one big surprise, then roll the dice one more time for the final question. Ali, my big surprise was you decided to do a three-dimensional cross-helix battle
I
without
was gonna
a
say,
map.
I'm really glad
You
that
described
we
it, and I
talked
like
about this combat.
every part of my body went, you don't have a map. Like, I've done these things with maps because they're weird and fun, but without a map in Theatre of the Mind, okay. Oh, he's doing it. And it's just every
Okay.
fiber of my being went, this is going to be a disaster. And then you pulled it off. That's extremely impressive.
Well, we mostly stayed on the square at the base of it, which helped, I imagine.
I had it. I
Sure.
drew the map on my iPad because as Ali was explaining it, I was just like, I am not sure that I'm comprehending what's happening right now. So I was legit in that episode. I think I was drawing it while we were like paused to go over everything. But it may be that like in the live, you can see me like looking down because I'm like trying to get this figured out.
Oh,
Because
it was
one of us needed a map.
conceptually gorgeous, but it was that kind of, oh, that's a complicated one. Okay.
I'm glad that Josh used a plot point to pull out that stunt, because that sort of cut in like probably half of the encounter, and I was like, thank you, because I don't know if it was, I mean, first of all, I think people was already in red numbers, so it's like,
Yeah.
is this
Yeah, it
people
was
gonna
bad.
die?
Yeah.
Or is this gonna go so long that we're gonna get lost where everybody is? So I think, Theater of the Mind might be a little bit tricky for that, but I think it did play well. So it's kudos to everyone, but thank you.
That's okay. This isn't surprising, but it pissed me off. I'm gonna throw this in here. Yeah, Josh, Garnot should have died. Commit. I definitely went, that is the best heroic. Oh, like, that was genuinely how I felt.
I'm known in the TTRPG community as the person who martyrs themselves a lot. So I thought, being as Ali gave us these plot points, I thought, I'll use it just so I don't make Pixie cry again.
Josh, think of the movie. You're the only nice one out of these three reprobates, and you've gotten to know the other two characters, and you love them all. They're great. And you could have thrown Roger back. He would have had... Mate, that was the Oscar moment, and you went, no, I grab onto the edge. Fuck it.
So,
The question is, though, would I have died because I was in a dreamscape?
I don't know. Ali, would he have done?
It could have happened the same with Mr. Cassell. So you could have been gone like unconscious, but you would need like a lower restoration. And I was prepared for that, like items in the other room, but I was like, what's going to happen? And then...
If that had happened and we'd have had to have gone into Garnet's mind and seen him reliving his worst nightmare, what would that have been?
Ooh, his worst nightmare. Ooh, that's actually a very good question because I've not thought about that. His worst...
Is it drop kicking a brain monster off into a weird dream space?
I'd say that his one would be very, very tied. So Garnot is an orphan. He doesn't know anything about his parentage or anything. So his thing would be, his only memory would be stood in the middle of what could essentially be known as the Feywild in flames. And
are you on fire or is the Feywild on fire?
The Feywild is on fire, or the woodland that he stood in is on fire, and he's just completely caked in soot and blood, and that's why he likes to keep his armor clean and his shield in pristine condition.
We could have had this.
Could have had
this could have been a thing that we did, but Josh decided to save himself. Just putting it out there. I'm saying if I'd been the other, I would be like, no, Josh. No, it's your choice. You either go or you don't. You can't have it both ways.
Don't give Josh any more chances. Yeah, don't.
I like jumping off things.
But also,
don't give him any more chances
monster.
to do
Okay, one last question, and then we will take it from there. I'm going to fluff this dice roll because I want to know.
Fluff that dice roll.
Fluff that dice roll.
Fluff that dice roll.
That dice.
Oh my god, it's a natural 20.
Hey, wow.
Oh my god.
Where the hell did that come from? What's next for your characters?
Ooh, I feel like we should wait for the next game.
I want decisions.
Avoiding being used in some kind of ritual to open a gate to the far realms in the capital?
Where are you going to go instead? Because the answer of not the capital is great, but like...
Somewhere with Winnow, somewhere away.
Where would Sarah like to go?
Well, we were talking about the idea of trying to find Seraphine and the Steel Defender. That's a word. So the one that was like, don't come to me. We'll go find them.
Great, good.
But also see if we can sort Winnow's curse out on the way.
How do we sort Winnow's curse out? Genuine question.
I don't know.
No.
For the DM.
And what's worse is that the curse is not just Winnow. It's everyone with a tattoo from that one person.
Yeah.
The amount of guilt that you have given Winnow.
It just
is the curse just that Winnow cannot use their changeling abilities, though? Because if that cursed everyone with that tattoo, surely there's quite a small proportion that were changelings.
No, it just removes the racial abilities, so there's a really cold Goliath.
Yeah, there should be some.
A really unlucky halfling being like, why?
I'm not resistant to fire anymore.
A fire genasi whose own hair burns him to death.
An Aarakocra that's just like on the ground being like, why? Why did that not work?
A chicken Aarakocra!
With an Eldritch Claw tattoo, though.
An Eldritch Claw tattoo on its beak, on its face.
Eldritch beak.
Someone make this character.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
As we were talking about it, I was like, this is a Chris character.
And it's just like the tattoo is like I heart mom. It's like nothing edgy. It's they've all got to be edgelords. Otherwise, what's the point? It's like tribal flames up the beak and onto the face. Our brains work very differently. Mine is how can I make this as stupid as possible?
No, it's a chicken who walks around going, hey, and it's just really edgy, like, oh my god, guys, I think we but it's a chicken. Like it's
My hawk of feathers.
Yeah, what's the fucking chicken called from Looney Tunes?
Oh,
Foghorn Leghorn.
Are you going Foghorn Leghorn?
Yeah, it's
With
full
a southern
gigantic
drawl?
chicken. No, it's a full gigantic chicken who looks like Foghorn Leghorn. Walks up and goes,
Yeah.
like it's just someone who is a barbarian.
I say, I'm gonna Eldritch Claw you, or however he sounds.
Josh, you're not allowed to be any other character until. and if it happens to be the large character that throws my smaller character,
Amazing,
that we talked about in the pre-show,
Sold.
great. But I think that should just be a rule. We can all join this pact.
I love this.
Don't peck you to death. Yeah, I can see it happening. Great. I mean, who gets face tattoos? Come on. Who else? Future.
I'll go only because my decision was very fun to make. Not just that so Lazar said that he was going to go to the Capitol, right, and figure things out. But something that I didn't talk about in the session because it didn't feel like the flow was a little off, or I couldn't figure out how to do it well, is that Ali had my god say stay close to the robot, and that's not what Lazar decided to do. Or like stay close to, or it was actually like watch over or think or something was the actual words used. And I had a lot of fun parsing all of that, and especially kind of fitting into like Lazar's kind of complicated. It's actually about how I interpret things. It is not about what anyone tells me. And he felt drawn either personally, cosmically, astrally, whatever, to go to the Capitol and fix things. But he also, and he would not say this until it was official, but would basically tell Winnow that he trusted her ability to watch over Sarah. And like that was his interpretation of watch over the robot in his own kind of like weird, chaotic, lawful kind of interpretation of the world. Is that like, cool, I can do what I want to do, but I will tell you that this is important, and that I believe that you can do this. And so that was kind of like the behind the scenes behind his decisions to do what he said he was going to do.
You would get a resounding eye roll and sure, buddy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, exactly. He would have done his duty by saying it, or at least thinking it and feeling it. Be like, I have assuaged my own conscience.
There's a god going, no.
Yeah, but also if that was really his god, the god would be like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's
I think
on
your
me.
god is a bureaucratic nightmare and spends their entire time going, Lazar, you read the signs. He's like setting up signs.
Don't let me cast fireball, and maybe like
that's the wrong sign. Just read them properly.
That ability. There's a very easy way to communicate with me.
Sat in heaven,
let my
going,
prayers happen. Easy.
Any more plans for the future?
Nabri?
I mean, Navri found a lot of comfort having Lazar close to her, which is why the thought of losing him right now was so upsetting for her, because she'd grown to like kind of rely on him. And I think it would be fun, like in future games, to kind of explore a Navri that like can actually be a little more independent. But at this point, like she hired Garnot, but like doesn't know what she would do without Garnot to like carry all of her shit and just like be there for her. And like, Lazar kind of attached himself to her, but quickly she became like obsessed with like, no, like whatever he says is the way that things are, which is why like the scene in the first episode where he's like, oh, I have to consult the star charts. And I'm just like, I can't do anything until he's done. Like that was where that scene kind of like came from. Cause she's very much like has bought into like, oh no, I can't do anything without his God saying it's okay. So it would be neat to kind of explore a Navri that doesn't have that sort of reliance.
A Navri without her enablers?
A moment of growth, yes.
No. It could happen. It could.
Would it add some
Navri
humility,
Blech.
Disgusting.
Should have stuck with the creepy mask duo. That's all I'm saying. That's where you would have got growth.
The creepy monster.
Yeah, but she wasn't ready to let him go yet. That's the thing. If the creepy mask duo had stuck around, I think there could have been like time for that. But they're like, Navri's not at a point where she can let Lazar go yet.
Look, Daft Punk got a good 35-year career out of those creepy masks, so it's worth considering. That's what I'm saying.
True. If I ever want to break out, I will absolutely call these two and just be like, I need a mask.
Because there are phones in this world.
Yeah,
Have the sending stones.
Yeah, we have the sending stones. They work just like phones, right?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah,
stick your
phones only
pinky
let you
in your thumb
say
out.
30
You do.
words or whatever it is.
It's the only way. You have to hold it in your hand like this, and then you have to. This is how the sending stones work.
And then you talk into it and then you shake it.
Yeah. And this is canon now, just FYI. So I hope you're all ready to do this anytime you use a sending stone from here on out.
Put it on the wiki.
Put it on the wiki.
Gonna go edit that shit right now.
Well, it's open access. It's a wiki. Go on, Josh.
Garnot's kind of got 3 directions he could go in now. He could go to the capital with Lazar and Navri to help out with the whole mask situation. He could go with Winnow and Sarah, all sort of follow from a distance and help.
Go with them, you creepy.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't know whether Winnow likes him or not. So
We're friends now since the second episode.
Yeah.
The only one Winnow doesn't like.
And squirrels.
And Squirrel.
You can never
And
trust a
squirrel.
squirrel.
And-
Very
Damn
good.
squirrels.
And the third option would be to go to Candlekeep to get access to the library in Baldur's Gate, because that was in his vision. And in the last episode, he sort of clocked on that there's a family tree there that might tell him of his origins. So that would be something that he would look to do. Although that's probably a lot lower down on his priority list, because he's lived his life without knowing where he's come from. So he could probably push that off a little bit if it means saving the world.
Or going on a trip with a very young robot girl and this fuck. Hey, Winnow, how you doing? Okay.
I need healing. Ow! I feel better now.
I need healing. I've stubbed my toe. It's my face.
I imagine it's like deep tissue therapy.
Large scale
Sure.
acupuncture.
Can we all hang on? Ali said it's like deep tissue therapy. Evie started doing biscuits like a cat.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's my next character.
What, a tabaxi masseuse.
Tabaxi, yeah.
Yes.
Tabaxi masseuse called Biscuits Like a Cat.
Oh,
Fuck.
Along with my chicken with a Eldritch
Yeah.
Claw tattoo.
Yeah.
Perfect
What's
combo.
happening?
All right,
What's
so
happening
let's
in
all
this
just
chat?
get off this call now and just make these characters and then get
Shit,
the
you
See
know.
you around for the next
I
campaign.
I have
Okay.
already
Nonsense
started because
rolling
this is
right
just
now.
who I am, making a hero forge, a foghorn leghorn face tattoo because I got excited. That's just happened already.
Amazing.
I'll send it to everybody. Cool. I'll say my face hurts. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. This has been Talk Together. Anyone got anything they want to plug? Plug. Pluggity plug.
I'll do a plug. You do
do
a
it.
plug.
No, you do it. No, you go first.
You have an award-winning thing to plug.
Oh, these two
And
are
I will not-
Oh.
I will not hear it.
I do. Hey guys, I'm V. You all know me. Josh and I are part of Queen's Court Games. You can find us on Twitter at Queen's Court RPG. We just came back from the New Jersey Web Fest, where we won outstanding actual play live stream for our playthrough of His Last Hope, which is Cult Divinity Lost. So if you thought that this was great and like you just want like more horror, like you're like, this is a good level of horror, but like I could use more.
Are you going to say more Navri? Not at all. No.
No. Navri is not Navri would get eaten alive in this game. No. Cult Divinity Lost is a terrible, horrible, awful game full of trauma. It's wonderful and it's so much fun to play, and you get wonderful character stuff out of it. But it is for a very specific audience. But the judges at the New Jersey Web Fest loved it and gave us outstanding actual play live stream. You can find that on our YouTube. It's youtube.com/QueenSquareGames. That's us.
Link will be in chat. Plug!
Josh, I have no idea who you're pointing to. You're just.
I was pointing to chat, but every time I go to do it, I always point in the wrong direction. So
Got it.
doing that.
I thought you were cueing someone as opposed to the. Okay, got it. Well, I'm chatting now, so I'll do a plug. Hi, I'm Nathan. I am most notably the DM of the Reckless Attack podcast. We're a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons actual play podcast. We have a great many things, excellent things. I try to combine the word things and feelings, which is kind of accurate. We have many feelings. We have a lot of friendship. It is a show of horror and mystery and good triumphing against evil, and mostly a lot of frogs. Check us out. New episodes every Tuesday.
Thank you, Nathan. Plug.
I'll hop on. Actually, we're about to. Hello, I'm Nat. I sometimes also appear on the Merely Role Players podcast, which also does TTRPGs, not D&D. So if you want to listen to something else, we do that. Mostly we use Monster of the Week.
Do not.
We mostly do Monster of the Week, which is our Vigil series, but we've just finished the latest campaign of that, and we're about to go into, actually, by the time this airs, the first episode will be out, a shorter, sort of smaller campaign where we play Fiasco. Playing aging rockers, trying to get the band back together one last time, and I had a emotional breakdown playing it. It was too silly. So listen to that.
We did it's D&D, I think, where we all played like members of a rock band who'd all split up and come back together again, and we've really themed it around Fleetwood Mac, except I was Bez, who wasn't in Fleetwood Mac, for anyone who's wondering, although should have been. I've now got an image of that, and I love it. Plugs. Any more plugs?
I'm also part of Queen's Court Games along with V, as V said before, but we also have Astral Sea Chronicles, which is our D&D 5e game that we have that will be airing on Mondays soon, 2 weeks from now, I think, from when this goes live. And we also have on Thursdays coming up soon our Blades or Court of Blades game called Salt and Scandal, where I play a very Assassin's Creed-y type character.
In Court of Blades? You surprised me.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
He's taking a page from Winnow's book. Actually, he's playing the edgiest edgelord of Edgerton.
Josh,
in our Court of Blades game.
Yes, lovely Josh.
I played Assassin's Creed Origins recently and decided to base my character entirely on that.
Egyptian?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right then. Evie, anything to plug?
Yes, I am part of a team that works on Infinite Deer, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast, which is highly edited, highly comedic. It's basically just improv with occasional rules in there sometimes. And we may or may not be working on the second half of season 3 that was put on hiatus because of the Pandorama. But that might be coming soon, but we've still got 3 seasons for you to binge.
Like Pandorama. Good. Yeah, I like it. Ali, any plugs?
No, I have a boring 9 to 5. And I cannot invite you to come over, but still be happy.
Ali, you have a very important, very cool job. Do not let anyone knock it. Anyhow, that's it from all of us. I'm going to plug us. That's what I'm going to do. Roll Together RPG. We're swell. We're just the swellest.
New shows coming.
New shows coming, indeed they are.
Well,
on
show, yes.
Hang on Tuesday, replacing Divergent Dream. We have one shots for 2 weeks. So we've got Lost and Found, which is based on the lovely Tavern Tales book, and there'll be more about that on our Twitter. But yes, we're working with them to present their lovely book of Tavern Tales, their adventures all that start in the same tavern. And Tom Jancis DM'd, well, carnage. Good carnage. Fun carnage.
You surprised me.
I know, right?
Chris.
Yeah.
It makes sense with Tom for some
It does
reason.
actually. Yeah.
It's insanity
He's
and
a
it's
Chaos
wonderful.
Goblin.
What was your character? I can't remember.
Felida, who's like a cleric of the party.
That's right. You were a party
Yeah.
cleric, and I'm
Yeah.
a ranger with an owl bear companion. That was good fun. That's in the book, by the way. That subclass in the book, and fuck yes, thank you so much for making that subclass. It's amazing. Anyway, so that's on next week, and then that's on Tuesday, and then the week after on Tuesday, Natalie.
More tentacles.
Hey! Sleepers of Silverage return.
They do. They're less sleepy this time.
What level is it?
18. Like,
Spoiler alert, I do
put me up for
something.
this quiz. Yeah. Well, no,
As
I was
do
going
I.
to say, tune in to find out if Josh's character ever gets out of the barrel. But
Josh's character who has the highest hit points ever on stream, who just stayed in the barrel. Okay, good.
And took no damage in the last one that's already aired.
And,
half of which
and
once.
saved the whole combat. So I think that
Anyway.
just means that he was playing correctly.
Join us for high-level D&D Underground Tentacly Nightmare, and because it's level 18, that's 4 hours of intense number crunching. So join us for that in 2 weeks on Tuesday, and then after that there's a new show on Tuesdays. More about that soon. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. On Mondays we currently have Drowning in Blackwater, which is one I'm DMing, and is The Shepherds Returning, and everyone's got guns now. I don't really know why. Just people wanted them, and I didn't say no. The Shepherds are investigating more demon attacks, or are they? But yes, find out more about that next week. Mondays for the next 6 weeks. So check that out on Mondays. All D&D, 5th edition. You're welcome. All of our shows stream at twitch.tv/RollTogetherRPG. There's a YouTube link in chat. It's also youtube.com/RollTogetherRPG. You can also find podcast versions of our shows, which are just nicely cut versions of all the streams. Also search for Roll Together RPG on your favorite podcasting app, because they should be basically everywhere. And if they're not, tell us and we'll fix that. Join the Patreon. They're great, and we get money, which we need to make shows. So, help out. Also, buy stuff. All of our sponsors and supporters are fantastic, and the more stuff you buy, the more they like us and give us money to make more of these shows. You see how this works? Commerce. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being wonderful people and for watching our shows. And I was about to say we'll see you on the flip side, but I'm not cool enough.
You know what you are cool enough for, though, Chris? The usual catchphrase.
I hate the catchphrase. David came up with the catchphrase and then abandoned the show. That's harsh. No, David didn't abandon the show. He came up with the catchphrase and left the show. He's still very much a player. Fine. Everyone repeat after me. Do you all know what it is? I don't even know if you all know what it is.
I'm good at faking.
Okay. It's stay classy at the table, and on 3 we all need to say it. I know it's challenging, conceptually as well as just saying it, but let's do our best, shall we? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Stay
classy
at the
at the
table.
table. This is
Everyone
awful.
else went so
This
much
is so
slower
bad.
than I thought we were going to go.
I say,
I was